फिर आता है इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ डिजास्टर। शायद हम लोगों ने डिस्कस तो किया था इसमें, लेकिन बहुत ज्यादा पॉइंट्स नहीं लिखे थे। 2 पॉइंट्स हम लोगों ने लिखे होंगे। वन वाज द सोशल इम्पैक्ट, द अदर वाज द साइकोलॉजिकल इम्पैक्ट। तो सोशल इम्पैक्ट और साइकोलॉजिकल इम्पैक्ट के अलावा फिजिकल इम्पैक्ट होता है डिजास्टर का, सोशियो डेमोग्राफिक इम्पैक्ट होता है, इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट होता है और पॉलिटिकल इम्पैक्ट होता है। तो ये 6 तरह के, अगर आप लिखना चाहिए, यू कैन नोट इट डाउन। इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ डिजास्टर, फर्स्ट इज द फिजिकल इम्पैक्ट, disasters impact us physically. Second is social impacts. Third is psychological impact, मानसिक रूप से हमें प्रभावित करते हैं। सोशियो डेमोग्राफिक यानी पॉपुलेशन रिलेटेड डेटा, उसको असर करते हैं ये। सोशियो इकोनॉमिक यानी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज से रिलेटेड डेटा, उसको इम्पैक्ट करते हैं। और पॉलिटिकल इम्पैक्ट। So these are the 6 kinds of impacts that a disaster has. इसकी डिटेल्स हम लोग आने वाले क्लासेस में डिस्कस करेंगे। You can just note it down. फिर हमने ये तो पढ़ा था कि डिजास्टर के 3 फेजेस कौन से होते हैं, प्री डिजास्टर, ड्यूरिंग द डिजास्टर एंड पोस्ट डिजास्टर। फिर एक वर्ड होता है डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट। तो ये डिजास्टर का जो पूरा साइकिल होता है, naturally we cannot avoid the occurrence of the disaster. What we can do is we can reduce the impact of the disaster on the human beings. So disaster जो management है आपका, ये पूरा cycle, it is a cyclic process with starts with preparing the community or the society to fight with any kind of disaster, then training the people that what has to be done during the time of the disaster, that is when a disaster has occurred, what are the activities or how people should behave. Basically it is a drill in which voluntarily people are invited and they are given some training so that they can help the needy people during the occurrence of the disaster. And the post disaster, that is once the disaster has given wounds and unhealthy or disturbed lifestyle, then what can be done to bring back the life to normalcy. So ये पूरा जो cycle है, from preparing oneself to combat against the disaster, to strengthen yourself so that disasters have least impact on you, and whatever damage has occurred or whatever you have lost, how it can be replenished and refilled so that you can start living a normal life. It never returns to the normal, but what happens is it tries to streamline that life has started again or the activity has started again. Suppose the telecommunication system has been shut down due to excessive floods. So what can be done to restore during the time of emergency, and gradually how it should be worked out so that these systems like telecommunication, electric supply can be restored within minimum time, and these things are available to the people as it was available earlier before the occurrence of the disaster. इसको बोलते हैं springing back to normal. तो disaster management जो है एक continuous process है. It is an integrated process. It integrates various stages of disaster. और disaster में क्या है, प्लान करना होता है. First we have to plan में डेटा वगैरह कलेक्ट करते हैं. We have discussed that how various data are collected. Then जैसे एक पे आपने ड्राउट का डेटा कलेक्ट किया, एक पे फ्लड का डेटा, एक पे एक्सट्रीम हीट का, फिर लैंडस्लाइड्स का, वोल्केनोस का, अर्थक्वेक्स का, और ये डेटा हम एक ऊपर एक मैप करते हैं. द स्लाइड्स आर ऑफ द सेम एरियाज. एरिया वही होता है और एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया का अलग अलग तरह का डिजास्टर के लिए कितना प्रोन है उसको डिजास्टर वाइज हम लोग मैप करते हैं. उसके बाद ओवरलैप करते हैं सो दैट वी कैन गेट द मोस्ट डेंजरस एरिया, because same type of solution is not required in every area, because the frequency and intensity of the disaster occurring in various parts of that area will be different. So same strategy cannot be thought of for each and every part of the area, because at some part it will be very intense So that will require a different type of remedy. Somewhere it will be very weak, very insignificant. So that will have a different type of solution to combat. And at places there may be in between. So the requirement for these places will be different. So depending upon the intensity, frequency, and type of disaster, it might be that somewhere only drought is there, flooding don't occur. So solution for drought is different from what the solution for flood is. So if you plan for a flood, that same solution cannot be implemented to all types of disaster, because the problem is different. So when the problem is different and of different magnitude, then the solution has to be different. तो ये जो है disaster management, it is a process of planning, organizing, coordinating and implementing. There are 4 things. First is planning, organizing, coordinating and implementing. मतलब पहले प्लान करते हैं, फिर we organize, we coordinate and then implement. तो ये 4 चीजें होती हैं डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट में. और ये जरूरी क्यों, why disaster management is necessary, या why the activity of planning, organizing, coordinating and implementing is necessary, why this is necessary. So you can note it down if you want. What I'm going to tell you point by point, and if you want to prepare it for yourself for future reference, you can note it down. The first thing is prevention of danger or threat of any disaster. तो disaster management जरूरी क्यों है? इसलिए जरूरी है कि we can prevent the threat and danger. अब आप कहेंगे सर अभी आपने कहा था कि disasters cannot be stopped by a remote control or some technology. They will occur. So how can we prevent it? So the prevention might be in form of pre-disaster planning. Suppose we know that this is a low-lying area, and if there are going to be heavy rains, the catchment area will collect the water, and all the collected water will reach to this point, and there is a habitation. So we can plan that if rain is going to occur, or the rain has already started to occur, and the meteorological data says that the quantity of rain is going to be very heavy. So what we can do is we can ask the people to slowly collect the valuable items and important things and important belongings and move to some higher places, because we know that it is going to rain for 4 to 5 days. So we can take the preventive measures. So although it is going to impact us, it is going to destroy the property, the vegetation, pollute the environment because of sewerage, overflow of sewers and various other events, but damage to life will be definitely less, or will become insignificant. So we can take these types of measures. Second is mitigation or reduction of risk of any disaster or its severity and consequences. तो पहला था कि हम डिजास्टर को प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं. दूसरा है मिटिगेट और रिड्यूस, सो उसके इफेक्ट को हम कम कर सकते हैं. थर्ड पॉइंट इज कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग. We can equip the people or train the people to cope up with the disaster. Preparedness, हम पहले से तैयार रखें. हमारे पास बोट भी होनी चाहिए, और हमें मालूम है फ्लड आना है, तो we can easily put our belongings on the boat and sail to the higher places. Or we can, if we are living in areas which are flood prone and every year flood is going to occur, so what we can do is we can evacuate the ground floor and shift to the first floor, because we know that flood is going to come if we don't have the option of moving to some other place or migrating to some other place. So we can do that. Next point is promote response to any threat, disaster situation. It means we should be ready to respond to. We should not become selfish. We should be ready to respond with, and if suppose we are in a stronger position and some other people requires help, or we have expertise in suppose I am a doctor and I have expertise in medicine, and my neighbor is suffering and he needs an emergency medical support system, and I can do that, so I should be ready to willingly help them. So this will improve the confidence of the people in the difficult times to survive and fight with the disaster. Next thing is evacuation and rescue relief that we have discussed, rehabilitation and construction. So once the disaster has gone, what we can do is we can ask the people to return back, and people are going to have different skills. So you can use their skills or give them some other training so that they can rebuild for themselves. And basically, community rebuilding is the better option because people are going to find employment, and the second thing is they will have a sense of belongingness, because what they are building for themselves. So it will have a greater belonging or understanding of belongingness. So they will produce a better quality of work, and the second thing is they will find emergency or employment, or everyone will help them actually. If it is not in terms of money, at least it is in terms of help that they are going to gain. Suppose I am not going to charge for the consultancy that I give to the people in the case of emergency, but definitely if I am expert in something, the other person might be expert in the other thing. So this is going to build a better society. अच्छा, दो चीजें मैंने लास्ट क्लास में डिस्कस किया था कि डिजास्टर रिस्क रिडक्शन कैसे करना है। इसमें मैंने आपको दो पॉइंट्स बताए थे। द फर्स्ट वाज मिटिगेशन एंड द सेकंड वाज प्रिपेयर्डनेस। तो मिटिगेशन होता है किसी भी ऑकरेंस को अवॉइड करना कि वो नो ऑकर करे। जैसे बाढ़ आने वाली है तो हम बंधा बना सकते हैं सो दैट द वाटर डोंट कम टू द अदर साइड ऑफ द बंधा। तो दिस इज मिटिगेशन, मतलब इट इज हैविंग द कैरेक्टर ऑफ अवॉइडेंस। हम इसको अवॉइड कर ले। सपोज आई एम बिल्डिंग माय हाउस ऑन द स्लोप, सो लैंडस्लाइड ऑकर ना करे तो मुझे क्या करना होगा? तो बेटर थिंग इज टू make the terraces or the steps on the hill and give them plantation, deep root plantation, so that soil don't slide to the downhill. And in case of if it so happens not all the soil from the top will fall to the bottom, at least one or two steps will get damaged and the falling of soil will stop. And if the vegetation is intense or very dense, so soil is not going to fall because the roots are going to hold the soil. So इस तरह का करते हैं activities. This comes under mitigation. Preparedness में क्या होता है कि excuse me, एक मिनट boss. Preparedness में हम क्या करते हैं? What actually we do is preparedness में we plan for future. We plan that if such a disaster is going to occur, then how we are going to face it, how we are going to handle the situation. तो इस तरह के जो cases होते हैं, whether and ये preparedness जो है, it is not only for a single phase. जो हमने 3 phases कहे थे, that is pre-disaster, during the disaster and post-disaster. तो जो ये preparedness है, ये तीनों लेवल्स में हमारी आती है। हम प्री डिजास्टर में क्या करेंगे उसकी हम तैयारी करते हैं, ड्यूरिंग द डिजास्टर हमें क्या करना है हम उसकी तैयारी करते हैं, और आफ्टर द डिजास्टर हैज ऑकर्ड हमें क्या करना है तो हम उसकी तैयारी करते हैं। तो दिस प्रिपेयर्डनेस थिंग इंक्लूड्स ऑल द 3 कंपोनेंट्स। तीनों स्टेज इंक्लूड करता है कि हर स्टेज पे हमको क्या करना है। तो बेसिकली अगर आप प्रिपेयर्डनेस में देखेंगे कि क्या एक्टिविटी होती है, तो फर्स्ट थिंग इज कम्युनिकेशन प्लान विद इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड टर्मिनोलॉजी एंड मेथड्स। इसका मतलब यह है कि जो प्रिपेयर्डनेस है उसमें हम जो प्लानिंग करते हैं दे आर वेरी इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड फॉर द कॉमन मैन, दूसरा, जो उसके अंदर टर्म्स होते हैं दे आर वेरी सिंपल, मतलब बहुत लंबी लैंग्वेज पैराग्राफ नहीं होते, इट इज पॉइंट वाइज एंड शॉर्ट डिस्क्रिप्शन विद इजी लैंग्वेज। बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड वर्ड्स हम लोग यूज नहीं करते हैं, सो दैट द इंफॉर्मेशन इज क्लियर कट। और ग्राफिकल इंफॉर्मेशन हो तो ज्यादा अच्छा है, क्योंकि सपोज पीपल आर नॉट एजुकेटेड सो दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू रीड। जैसे आपने वॉशरूम लिखा है, तो वॉशरूम अगर इंग्लिश या हिंदी में लिखा है, या उर्दू का कोई आदमी आता है और he don't know the other language, तो उसको पढ़ने में दिक्कत होगा। But if you make a signage that can be read by everyone, irrespective of the language और कितना पढ़ा लिखा है, तो that can be read by everyone. So we try to make it in a language in the sense that it can be easily understood by everyone. The second thing is proper maintenance and training of emergency services, including mass human resource and community response system. इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब ये है कि जैसे आपने देखा कि हर जगह फायर हाइड्रेंट लगे रहते हैं, और फायर हाइड्रेंट ये लगे रहने का ये मतलब थोड़ी ना कि रोज आग लगने वाली है, लेकिन पता चला जिस दिन आग लगी उस दिन फायर हाइड्रेंट ने काम नहीं किया। द पीपल डिड नॉट नो व्हाट टू डू। ऑक्सीजन, ये जो आपके फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर सिलेंडर से एक्सपायर कर गए, सो इट शुड बी मेड मैंडेटरी इन अ मंथ और टू, और सम कन्वीनियंस फिक्स करनी चाहिए, so that even though the disaster has not occurred or there is no chances to occur nearby time, but you should get a training and drill should be carried out, so that you are in touch with what to do. Because if you don't do it, you are not in touch, you don't have the training, or you took the training 5 years back and now you have forgot what you learned at that time, or what should be done first and what should be done later. You forget the sequence, so it is going to create a mess. It is going to create a communication mess, it is going to create a physical mess. So that will be that should be avoided. Next point is development and exercise of emergency population warning methods. Basically in coastal areas, suppose we know that it is a time of high tide and wind velocity has increased, so the waves are going to rise more higher. So what can we do is we can have sirens and loudspeakers to warn the fishermen not to go deep into the sea or return back by this time, because we fear that after this the sea will become dangerous. So these type of warning systems using helicopters to communicate with the people who are already in the deep sea, these activities can be carried out so that people are aware and they can take measures to be safe. Next point is stockpiling, inventory, maintain disaster supplies, equipments, developing trained professionals. So all these points, we know that flood is going to occur, and same things. You can think of the lockdown situation also. This was also a disastrous situation. So what did people do if they had it was going to be a lockdown of 14 days? So they immediately rushed to the market to buy the food supplies, vegetables, and other medicines and other valuable items and important items that were necessary for sustaining the life. So same thing goes with the other types of disasters also. Suppose you know it is going to be a flood time now, and it will take about 2 weeks for the water to recede. So what will you do? You will pile up the food stock and the grocery store and other important things. You need the medicine, so you will purchase it for a month and stock at the home, because it will be difficult to buy during the flood or during the heavy rains, or it may be costly, so uneconomical. So these type of activities which you carry out, this helps for the preparedness. And suppose if you are not prepared for the flood, then what will happen? Every people is going to rush to the market to buy the food stock, and people who are purchasing 5 kilo now will purchase 50 kg. So there will be crisis in the market. So what you have to do is you should know that what type of situation is going to occur, and avoid the panic situation. And people should be convinced that enough of the supplies are available. Why panic is there? Panic is there because people fear that if I go late and not going to purchase the things, then I will not get it. The market will become empty. So people should be convinced, and they should be confident that No, our disaster planning system is such that even in case of emergency, the important services or important supplies that we need are going to be there, whether it is milk, whether it is food product, whether it is vegetable. They should be convinced and they should have confidence on the system that during these difficult times, these systems will not fail and they will maintain the supply, and uh, they will need what they want. Uh, Although it will not be a privileged one, but at least emergency needs can be fulfilled, so that people may have the confidence on the government, confidence on the volunteers and people who are serving them. तो यार ये सब कुछ चीजें थी जो प्रिपेयर्डनेस के बारे में हमने डिस्कस किया.